Oh yeah, we got Mr. UCLA walking through right here, double degreed up. He'll be making a feature in a future video. But right now we are with Kenny. So Kenny is on the mic. Kenny, how you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Just getting settled in.
Okay, awesome, awesome. I appreciate you being here, brother.
You know, I'm glad for you to have me.
Yeah, I'm forcing everybody I know who's been successful. Oh, you got it, bro. You can go. You can go. Yeah, yeah. Normal sound. We are in the house in the crib. House is full, so you're gonna see people walking by. This is real life. Um, but I just had somebody who walked out who won the Jackie Robinson scholarship. That was 35 grand. They got free flights to New York for 4 years in an amazing network. Um, and this is just a follow up conversation that we're going to be having, one of many with Kenny. And so we're going to just take some time real quick to talk to him about his experience in learning, and whether or not scholarships helped him at all in that process.
Mm.
So, throughout any part in your life, did you ever receive a scholarship?
All right, before we move ahead, if you're wondering, what is the Jackie Robinson Scholarship? Reach out to Professor Miles right here.
Yes. Go to my TikTok. Follow
Whatever
me
platform
at
this is going to be on, there's going to be a
Professor
link
Miles.
somewhere. Just reach out. He has books, he has, you know, writing, all kinds of content. Just reach out, and includes many other scholarships wherever you are, East Coast, West Coast, military person, international student. Just reach out to Miles. Okay, sorry, back to your question.
These are all facts. So, yeah, go to scholarship.launch.gumroad.com. You can download a full list of 140 plus scholarships that fit every demographic he just talked about. Quick and short and easy.
Okay, so question, at any point did I leverage a scholarship? So I went to school back home in Ghana, University of Ghana. So no,
When you
I
say
did not.
University of Ghana, what is that?
University of Ghana is one of the main universities in Ghana.
And
It's
Ghana
called
is located where?
West Africa.
Okay. The continent?
The continent, not the country. The, the continent, yeah.
Yeah, so from the continent of Africa in the country of Ghana, you went to the University of Ghana.
University of Ghana.
UG,
Yes.
UG, not the University of
UG.
Georgia, UG. Okay, so
UG,
University of
yes.
Ghana. So while going to University of Ghana, what did you study?
I studied information systems technology, so IT.
Boom. And
Uh,
did you receive any scholarship or any financial aid for the
so
University of
no
Ghana?
scholarships, no financial aid, and
Wow. So how did you pay for school?
so the reason why is education. So University of Ghana is a public school. It's as what you guys would call like state school. So it's a public school, and public school education is subsidized by the government. So it's not that expensive. So my school fees came out to about 15 to 20,000 CDs, which is Ghana's currency a year, and that will be the equivalent of 1,000 to about 1,500. Don't quote me, double check. Dollars
So if
on
you're
that.
African American, you can move to Ghana and get immediate citizenship and enroll your butt into the University of Ghana to pay 2 grand a year or a
Yeah,
semester to go
a
ahead and
year.
get
Yeah,
you a degree. This sounds amazing. So uh, I love that. Right, I'm kind
yeah.
of joking about
Oh,
moving to
and
Ghana and
even
doing
if
that, but like that also
you're going as
sounds
an
great.
international student, I was just doing a quick check before I hopped on the couch. It's about, don't quote me on that, double check. I think about for international students about $7K a year. So as an American, that's not a lot. For somebody in Ghana, that's a lot of money. But coming from where you're coming from down there, that's not a lot of money, and you still get a quality education. I have so many friends that I made that were international students coming from the U.S. and Europe who came to school, some full time, some exchange programs in the University of Ghana. And it's crazy. They came, did their undergrad, and went back to their countries.
So
So
what was networking like for you at the University of Ghana in undergrad? Like you're meeting all these different type of students. Were you able to build a strong network?
definitely, definitely. Networking was great. Ghana is not as big as the US. So going back to university, you're gonna meet a lot of friends from your senior high school, and then you're gonna meet a lot of friends from your junior high school or primary school, right? You're gonna reconnect with those friends, or. So you're gonna reconnect with a whole bunch of people that you knew, back in senior high school or primary school, and then people. Everybody knows everybody in Ghana. If you don't, even if you don't know them personally, you know of them. So you're gonna meet a whole lot of people that you knew of. Maybe a bunch of guys that you played basketball against back in junior high school or senior high school, and be like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And they're all in the same school. And then you meet other people, right? And yeah, it's networking is important as it is anywhere in the world, and uh, the network that you build there goes along to benefit your life tremendously, even after you leave school and along the way, like everywhere else.
So why did you? Well, where do you live now?
I live in Los Angeles, California.
Whoop whoop!
LA,
You
baby.
see the Nipsey hustle behind him. Come on, man! Big shout out to Clay. The artist who made that. Clay P, what's up, man? UCLA product. Yeah. So out here in Los Angeles, and why did you move from Ghana to the United States of America, specifically LA?
um, I moved out here to seek my fortune.
Okay.
Just to leverage,
Still where is the land of honey and gold, right?
yeah, just to leverage the opportunities and for more independence. Ghana is more community and family oriented, so um, there's no incentive, or it's not part of the culture to leave the home at 18 and go figure out your stuff or go live it like it is here. Like my peers back home are still at home. If I'm to go back to visit Ghana today, I'm going straight to my parents' house. So I just wanted some more independence, more freedom, and the kind of visions and plans that I had for my life. America offered those opportunities more than Ghana did. So here I am. Originally, the plan was to
So
live in New Jersey. Sorry, but then I had a cousin who lived in LA. I came to visit LA one Christmas, and I'm like, "Ooh, this is kind of my vibe. This is my speed." So after I went back to New Jersey, she reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you like to move over here? I'm here." She was living with her sister. Then her sister moved away. She was like, "Hey, I'm still in the apartment. If you want to move over and split this rent with me, you can." And at that point, I was actually considering and preparing for joining the Air Force. So I was like, Air Force or LA. And as you can see, I ended up in LA, no regrets.
hey, no regrets. Living in LA, could have lived in New Jersey, came to visit, was like, boom, this is what you need to do. And how long have you been in LA?
I've been in LA for more than 10 years now, 10 to 12
Ooh.
years, maybe 13. I'm an
So
official Angelino
you graduated University of Ghana how long ago?
in 2012.
So 2012, it's currently 2025. And that was 13 years ago.
Mm.
So
2011, sorry. 2012, I was
graduated
here.
2011.
Yes.
Okay, graduated
2012, I was here.
2011. Woo, woo. Same year I graduated UCLA. Let's go, baby.
Woo.
Um, so was college worth it? Because you did it in another country. You talked about building a great network, but you moved across the freaking ocean and then across the whole country of the United States. Like you didn't just get to the to the closest place to Ghana. You actually moved to the furthest place from Ghana, outside of
Yeah.
Hawaii or Alaska, if you want to, count your longitudes and latitudes. But for the continental United States, you're at the furthest point from Ghana. Are you still working in IT? Was college worth it? Are you utilizing anything that you gained as a skill in and outside of college? Like, what's the breakdown here?
College was worth it. Uh, College was definitely worth it. College is always worth it. I know there's this whole culture of, to hell with college, don't go to college, whatever, whatever. I think personally, college is always worth it. Just
College is worth that. You
college
hear me?
is worth it.
Go to
Just
college.
it's all about making it count, right? We have a lot of people who go to college, especially out here in the U.S. And in fact, everywhere else, right? They're very uninformed when they go to college, but you need to be informed before you go to college, right?
What do you
Because
mean by
it's
informed? Like
as
informed of what?
in terms of like what are they gonna do?
Do is like a major. Do is like
M-
clubs and organizations, like
All the above.
internships.
All the above, right? They have no idea what they're going to. Somebody's like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna study, I don't know,
Basket weaving.
basket weaving, and then like, oh, I got a degree. No, not all degrees are equal, right?
Can you say that
And
again?
not all degrees are equal.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean they're not equal? They told me go to college, get a good job, and then I'll be set for life.
And there is the saying that's spread all over, especially in the minority communities, because our parents didn't have an opportunity to go to college, so it's like that's the message. They pound in you: go to college, go to college, go to college. Right? They couldn't give you the specifics or the unique information that you needed to be informed when you did go to college, but they gave you the best they could give you, which was go to college, right? So a lot of people just went to college, right, uninformed, like I said before, but what you do in college is a huge determiner for the rest of your life and has a huge impact for the rest of your life. So it would do you good to be informed when you go to college. And what do I mean? Like I said, all of the above. Be informed about the opportunities available to you in terms of scholarships, right? Which will subsidize your education in terms of what course do I want to do? What am I interested in life? So what courses should I pick that are in line with this path that I want to take, or I don't know what I want to do, but I kind of know what I'm good at or what I'm interested in. What courses are in this field are available to me that I can take advantage of or check out, or what if I just want to go to college and start out and then figure it out later in college, right? There's a whole thing, what's the term for when you're undecided?
Undeclared.
Undeclared. Some people don't know that, right? So they just pick something to go to college, right? But they don't
So
know
let's
you can be
talk about your experience. You picked information systems.
information systems.
So how did you come to that conclusion?
I've always known I wanted to do IT and work with computers.
How did you always know?
Well, I wouldn't say I always knew, but I've always been interested in technology and everything that relates to technology.
How did
as
you
a
know
young
that you were
person.
interested in technology at 5?
Well, I wouldn't say 5, but maybe
At
like
10 years old?
10 plus. Yeah.
What did you do? What was when you think back retrospectively, because it probably wasn't that deep at 10,
It
right?
wasn't that deep.
But there were signs.
Yeah, there were signs. So in hindsight, the signs, which is something you hear from a lot of IT people, is that I was the fix-it guy in the family. Like TV is
Fix a
messing
guy.
up, they call me. The phone is messing up, they call me. Mama buys a new phone, can't figure it out, they call me. Dad's phone is falling apart, they call me. Computers are breaking, I go in there, open it up, try and figure it out and fix it out. And I just did that shit because I liked tinkering and I liked doing that thing as a kid, right? So it wasn't work for me, and I would just do it. And so when it got to the time to make the decision, I look back at my life, and in hindsight, I'm like, oh, I've always been interested in doing these things. I've loved computers, love to know more about computers. So it's always come easy to me relatively. So I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do.
Boom. So look back in your life, hindsight, and write down all the things people have ever asked you to do. And that's probably a great place to start to figure out what your major could be. Now, when did money come into a factor for information systems? Because scholarships talks about subsidizing education financially. We talked about the price of going to the University of Ghana. But as an adult, life costs, experience costs. You're living in Los Angeles, a top 5 city in the United States, and the price is top 5 in the United States. Okay, this is not St. Louis. This is not Tulsa, Oklahoma.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, we are not in Kansas, not Kansas City, nothing, not even Louisville, Kentucky. So you can't click your heels and get out of these bills. How are you actually able to? Are you able to say with confidence that information systems is a good financial career pathway, just from a financial standpoint?
100%.
So financially, was college worth it?
It was.
Network wise, was college worth it?
It was.
From a pure experience, just hanging out outside of class, was college worth it?
It was.
So your suggestion and advice to somebody who is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and considering whether or not they should go to school for information systems in 2025, is that a yes or no suggestion for them?
It's a yes. Yes. I would also suggest computer science, right? If you tilt towards that way. And what do I mean if you tilt towards that way? If you're good at, math. Well, actually, I don't even want to say if you're good at math. Sometimes people just deduce, oh, I'm not good at math, so they don't go into it, right? When they could have still been successful, right? So anything in the tech field, IT, computer engineering, computer science, it's a yes for me. And it
Why
pays
is it a
well too,
yes?
because it pays well. Number one, it pays well. Anything tech pays well, right?
I used to work at Drexel University, which
Yep.
is a STEM-focused institution: science, technology, engineering, and math. STEM. The engineering interns would work a whole summer and make as much as I made as a college lecturer plus being a program coordinator. And I'll just be transparent. That was $44,000 coming out with my graduate degree that ran me $70,000 in loans. And I had to watch the engineering students come back from a summer, a 10-week internship, and say, I too made $44,000 this year. So we're making the same income. I am a grown adult with a master's degree, working in education. My love, my passion, as you see to this day, I'm still in the same industry, but I'm finding multiple and creative ways to be able to expand my income. Those engineering students were 19, 20, 22, coming back from a summer internship and making the same amount of money I made in 12 months, but they made it in 10 weeks. Tough.
Yep.
Tough. Well, I also work in education technology today. So I grew up. I made some switches and some changes. Otherwise, I might only be making, 20K more than that right now versus being able to sit here today with my income doubled.
And I'd recommend, if I may add, whatever you do, you don't have to work in tech, right? But tech affects every facet of life, especially job wise these days. So whatever you do, whatever your interest is, just make sure that if it's not a tech focused role or field, make sure that you learn or get into the tech side of it. For example, I want to be a graphic designer. Okay, go do that, but make sure that you learn the Adobe side of it, because there's a whole thing called a technical artist. They're literally designers and artists that know how to do the back end of the gaming softwares and the creative software. So they can go on Adobe and all those other gaming softwares and creative softwares and do a little bit of coding and configuration on the back end, right? And they make mucho money, right? So whatever you do, make sure you just learn the tech side of it. Even if it's data science. Data science is not just, data entry into Excel sheets anymore. It's all about
Data
SQL
visualization,
and data visualization and all that kind of stuff.
small
So,
small
yep.
level coding, which is SQL, being able to manage Excel spreadsheets. I'm a business analyst now for an education technology company, and that essentially has me serving as a data analyst for the team, working with data visualization tools, business intelligent tools, being able to master and understand apps. At the very least, go on there as a user on the app and be able to comprehend and convey to business leaders what they're doing so they can go out and
Exactly.
make more
So you
revenue.
can speak the language, right? Even if you want to be a carpenter, learn how to use 3D printing tools and applications, software that they use to design and calculate the joints and all that stuff. Whatever you want to do, just make sure that you get into and get abreast with the technology side of that field, right? If you want to be a mechanic, make sure you get to know the technology side of that field. How to go into the computer and calculate the engine, whatever is and whatever is. Just make sure that you cover the tech side of it too as well.
Absolutely. I was talking to my nephew's brother about that, right? And so, as I'm talking to him, I'm telling him it's great to be a mechanic. It's great to understand and love your old school cars, but you will always have a job if you can fix the electrical side of the car, the way the technology is moving forward, especially if you can dive into electric cars, right? The electric part of the car is the computers, the touchscreen system that allows you to be able to play your favorite music and play songs and everything like that while you're in the car, and being able to add an additional screen or two to the car so people in the back can play video games. But and that's fixing the computer system that comes with every car, even the gas cars. But the electric cars is a totally different new realm that's going to be consistently growing and expanding and developing. That's another realm of being a mechanic. So don't limit yourself in any realm that you like. Once you can look back in hindsight and identify the signs that are showing what you're probably good at and should be able to major in so you can make the most money, learn that tech side. All right. So
One
Kenny's
more
been
thing. One
here.
more thing.
I was going to
All
say,
this
do you
stuff we
have
just said,
something else?
we're informing you. So this ties into what I said in the beginning about being informed going into school, right? Because if you have information like this, you can sit down and say, bet, okay, so now I can plan out my college life. I just wanted to go to school for a year and be a mechanic, but now I know maybe I'll go for a year or 2 years, get an associate's degree, start being a mechanic, and then I'll go back and do the tech side of mechanic, whatever that is, right? And go into, or electrical engineering or whatever, right? Because now I have a game plan, and now you're focused, you have a plan, you have a path, because you went in informed. And if you want to be informed, what do? You talk to people like Professor Miles,
So
who
with
inform you
that,
and get you scholarships.
I would say go to Amazon.com and buy the book Conquer College by me, Miles Goodlow. Conquer College breaks down how you can conquer your extracurriculars, your co curriculars, your academics, build your network, even how to manage your romantic relationships as you're proceeding all the way through college. No one else has a blueprint that tells you chapter by chapter how to really break down all the different aspects of going to college and conquering that to maximize your true opportunity. So we're gonna go into part 3 here because we already in the part 2 and we did part 1. Part 1 really learning about Kenny and his University of Ghana experience and information systems. Part 2, what type of knowledge does he have for you, being able to break down how you can really maximize your opportunity in 2025 for somebody who already got their degree, already works in the career that they're in. So go embrace the technology. Go buy Conquer College from Amazon.com right now by Miles Goodlow. So that way you can understand how to conquer your college experience. And we're going to go into part 3. What does lifelong learning look like to make sure that you're staying on top of all of the opportunities that you could potentially have? And how does that contribute to you increasing your income? Because in order for you to conquer college, what's the point of that? So you can get a great job, right? Like we're still talking to the American dream for corporate America, which is go to school, get a good job, and then be able to pay for the life that you want. So let's go into part 3. Kenny, just break down, right? You graduated over a decade ago from the University of Ghana. You said college was worth it, yes?
Yes.
You said that the networking in college was worth it, yes?
Very important. Yes. The social aspect of college is also very important. That's like 50 academics, 50 social. So don't skimp out on that.
We talked about being informed and going into college and having a plan and a blueprint where you want to download a book like Conquer College from Amazon.com. You want to go and be able to look at the ebooks at scholarship.launch.gumroad.com to be able to look at the different ways that you can plan your own blueprint for college success. But when you graduate college, people talk about being a lifelong learner. So what does being a lifelong learner look like for you? And is that financially viable?
Mm.
Are you going back to school and getting more degrees? So let's start there. Are you going back to school to get more degrees?
So I'm not going back to school to get more degrees, but technically, every year I'm in school. So Miles would know this personally, that pretty much almost every year I'm studying for some certificate or learning to get some certificate or some new skill. I do that every single year because the tech space is so dynamic and it's ever changing, especially recently. It changes so fast that you want to make sure that you improve your skills. I just got that light hitting. Want to make sure that you improve your skills and stay abreast with the trends of technology. So pretty much every year, Miles knows this from personal knowledge, I'm doing some certificate. I'm studying for maybe, or I'm just studying for the sake of studying. You know, I'm getting more knowledge. I'm studying cybersecurity. I'm studying about these new systems, right? I just started working a new job recently. They have this whole system that they use called Notion, and I'm supposed to be the one that's configuring it and engineering it. So I'm studying Notion. Going on Notion's website, taking courses, right? So I'm not going back to college, but it's all lifelong learning. The learning never stops, right? Miles has recently started to study SQL, because he's a business analyst. It never stops. And if you do stop, you're going to fall behind, right? You're going to fall behind. So lifelong learning is a thing. You want to make sure that you're always in it and on it. It could also be going back to school, right? In the form of grad school, right? Depending on what your field is and what your desires are and what your goal is, right? We had Azani who was up here, not too long ago, and he is back in grad school, right? Because based on his path, he did his calculations and, he went back to grad school to study something that is in his interest, So it all depends on your goals and fields. With tech, there's so many courses out there. There's so many resources out there these days on the internet that you don't necessarily have to, but you can if you want to, right? It also depends on what field you're in, right? But yeah, definitely, lifelong learning is a must.
Yeah, and we want to encourage you to donate to the Scholarship Launch Graduate School Scholarship. And so we have a graduate school scholarship that we're raising on GoFundMe. You can go to GoFundMe.com, type in Scholarship Launch, donate $50 to help graduate students get more resources and finances for them to be able to go to graduate school and pursue their academic dreams. Graduate students have the least amount of financial assistance when it comes to going to school, and we want to be able to help those people get more resources. So 100% supporting graduate school as an option. And definitely we want to make sure that we contribute $5 or $50 towards this scholarship. The more money that you donate, the more opportunities that we can provide for graduate students who are struggling to financially pay for the continuing education. Now,
And this,
Kenny is not
and
in
if I may, the same
graduate
thing
school.
applies in graduate school, right? When you go 50% academics, 50% networking, right? I know it may be tough. You're an adult at that point. You're working, you're grinding, going to school at the same time. If that's your situation, it's a lot of time. You're tired, but do not discount the importance of networking with your professors, with your peers. Trust me, it is so, so very, very important.
What does networking with your peers, networking with your professors look like? How did
If
you do it?
With your peers, that should come easy, right? These are your peers. These are your friends in class, in the dorms, if it's undergraduate New York campus, or you just see around, right? Friends of friends. It's it's not hard work. It's not something that is formal that you go and say, hi, hello, nice to meet. It's just in the informal settings, in the groups, in all the groups that you're part
So,
of.
Kenny, why do people like you socially? Let's break it down, right? To help it be very like let's explain it as if they're in third grade and have no idea, right? Now I know y'all are adults, right? But I just want to make sure that it's as direct as possible because everyone says go network, build your network. Your network is your net worth. You've got to be able to make sure that you're building your network at all times. But why do people like you? Because essentially a network means you have a group of people who like you, who believe in you, and will answer the phone when you call.
Mm.
So why do people like you? Why do they answer the phone when you call?
Um, Very simple. They like me because I build that relationship with them, since we're talking about college, back in school, right? See them passing down the hallway. I say hello. I don't pick up my phone and pretend I don't see them. I say hello. I shout out to them. They tell me something next time I see them. I follow up on what they told me before. I'm like, oh, how's this class going? Or you told me you were doing this. How's it going with this guy or this girl? Like I said, it doesn't have to be formal, right? Just communication, being social. Like, hey, there's this party next week. Are you going? You see them at the party, like, hey, you came. What's up? Or you see them at a party, it's like, oh, you didn't invite me. You see someone in the hallway all the time, and then you see them at the party, like, bro, what's up? You didn't tell me about this party. What, just being sociable. It doesn't have to be formal, and it can be formal too, right? Like connecting with a professor, saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. This or Miss This, I'd like to talk about this. I have this idea for my future that I like to bounce off you. Sometimes you may not even need to, but you just do it just to connect with that professor,
And
right? Just
when
to
you
connect with that senior.
connect with the professor and they give you a piece of advice, how important is it to follow on that piece of
Mm.
advice? Do you need to show that professor that you took that advice, took heed? Is that important in networking
Um, it de-
from your
from my
experience?
personal experience, it depends. There's some advice that you would take that will be more valuable to you based on whatever journey you're on, right? And there's been situations that I followed some advice and it worked out, it didn't work out, and I reached back out to that professor to follow up and be like, or maybe I didn't reach out, I just saw them, be like, hey, sir, ma'am, guess what? This worked out. Thank you. Especially when it works out, make sure you always reach back and say thank you. And if it doesn't work out, it's like, oh, I did this and this and this. What do you think? Do you have any, more, words for me? So and so, right? Or maybe it wasn't for me, it was for a friend, and or this was a friend's experience, and I was just curious about it. What do you think? You know,
And the key here is follow up.
Follow up.
So, socially, with your peers, you ask them how they're doing, you hear what they say, you remember it, you mention it next time. Follow up. That's what follow up means. That's what building a network means. That's what being social means. Professor, You ask for advice. They're knowledgeable. Acknowledge their knowledge, their wisdom. They've done it before. They have more experience in life. You take that experience, you apply it to your life. It works. You go back to them and you tell that professor, thank you. It worked.
Yep.
Follow up. You've that's keeping up and building your network. So it's incredibly important that you follow up in order to build your network. For those of you in sales, you know that the sale is in the follow up. People hardly ever buy on the first contact in the first conversation. But when you follow up and then you follow up again and you follow up again, continually advancing the conversation, then you finally are able to finally sell them something. And what's even better when you're doing it with your peers socially, there is no sale. When you're doing it with your professors, there is no sale. But what is amazing is that 5 years down the road, they'll have a connection, they'll have an opportunity for you, and they'll think of you because you proved to them socially in the follow up that you thought of them. The professors will say, I give this person advice, they take it, they use it, it works for them. Boom, instantly, one of their favorite people. Socially, to your peers, they're like, yo, I love hanging out with Kenny. He always remembers the last thing that we talked about and just ask a simple question to ask, how's it going?
Show genuine interest in people.
And if you're like me and you just are happy to do your own thing and don't give a damn what anybody else is doing, you're going to have to force yourself to say, I know we talked about that last time. Let me just ask how it's going. Because it may not be genuine to you. It may not be your authentic self. You may not just genuinely care. You may not be curious at all as to what they got going on. And you're going to have to put in extra thought and effort. Because maybe you're a person who's in your own head and in your own world, and you're not worried about what nobody else has going on.
And if you keep putting in that extra thought and effort, eventually it becomes second nature to you.
And then it comes
And
off
now you're a
as
sociable
genuine.
person.
Now it comes off as authentic. Now you're a sociable person. And now you've also done what most people don't do, which makes you stand out significantly while networking, because you now follow up and genuinely care about how something is going for someone. And that's a key differentiator that allows you, that's like your moat that allows you to be really different as a person. And you are your own business. So for any of you that like investing, you want to invest in a company that has a moat. Apple is so unique and special with their cultural aspects and products that no one can really beat that out. There's 15 other computer companies out there. It's Apple and PC. The rest of them just get bundled into PC. Dell and others. I can't even think of it right now because that's how strong the moat is for Apple. You want to be the Apple in your community. Oh yeah, it's Kenny and them. Because Kenny stands out. Not because he's the loudest, not because he is all these other things that we can throw on to people stereotypically that make us feel small, but because he has the ability to interact with others and see them and ask questions to follow up on how they're doing, which inherently makes the other person not feel small. And that's why people talk about it's not what you say, it's how you say it, because it gets down to how you make people feel. And people might forget what you're talking about, but they will genuinely remember how you make them feel. And if they feel good around you, you're a source of positivity, you're a lighthouse of opportunity, you're thinking about them and giving them things and different helping them. I mean, you're just gonna stand out and be unique. And you want to do it for the sake of doing it, not just because you're like, ooh, they might help me out one day. Like people can sense that. So what you want to do is say, yo, I'm just asking you how you're feeling, and it's just about this 5 minutes of asking you how you're doing and following up on the conversation we had last time. That's your whole genuine effort.
Fake it till you make it. Don't fake it just to fake it.
Yeah. When they're talking about, oh, a real one, this is how you become a real one. Right here. All right. So before we wrap up part 3, is there anything else that you would like to say for the people when it comes to networking in college or maximizing your college opportunity, or how college actually relates to the real world?
Don't sleep on the groups and the fraternities, sororities. Take part, join, be part of the community, right? Don't sleep on those. Remember, that's also part of the networking, right? Till this day, we step out. Miles is always seeing his fellow noobs here and there all around in social and in professional settings.
I can't
Don't
get
sleep
away
on it.
from them.
Yep,
And that's a good thing.
that's it.
We thank you. We appreciate you. Kenny, I appreciate you dropping knowledge.
Happy being here. Happy being
All
here.
the
Go to
gems.
college.
You heard this? Take action on this. So if you want a real quick recap on what to take action on, you want to make sure you go to college. You make sure that you reflect back on what's been your best strengths and skills that people have asked you for. That's your major. 3, you want to continue to be a lifelong learner once you graduate and earn certificates consistently. 4, you should be networking genuinely and authentically the entire way through follow-up with peers and professors. And then 5, apply for scholarships. You should be applying for a scholarship a week. That's $52 a year minimum. If you go to my website, you can download 140 that will give you links to over 300 scholarships, which means you should be applying for one a day. Yes, one a day. If you're a beast, if you just have no fear and hesitation and relentlessness. At minimum 52, so you can reduce how much college actually costs for you. I won 20 scholarships that led to $100,000 in financial aid. I didn't have to pay to go to UCLA. I studied abroad at London, Brussels, Amsterdam, Paris. I joined the fraternity like he said. I have an amazing network for just genuinely asking and caring about how people feel and pouring in nothing but positivity into their life. You can do the same. You're amazing. You're great. Once you believe it, everyone will see it. Don't be shy. Just apply to scholarships. Peace, love, and happiness.